rooms. With that said, we are good to go. Alrighty. Welcome everyone. You are now watching Learn Around the World's all-new program, On the Scene. This is the program where we send our live correspondents around the globe to report back to your classrooms to what's going on right now. And our first correspondent today is connecting with us from Germany. Just in case you need a review, Germany is located in Europe. And if we look at Western Europe, Germany is located right in the center. And the neighbors to Germany, starting to the north, are going to be Denmark, Poland, the Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, France, Luxembourg. Yes, there's a lot of them. Belgium, and one more, the Netherlands. So these are the neighbors to the country that we are going to connect live with right now. And we are connecting first today with Vanessa. And Vanessa is live from Germany. Welcome to the show, Vanessa.
Hi, everybody. How are we doing?
Great. So before we open up for questions, can you maybe just show us around what's going on live where you're at and maybe explain to us where we are right now?
Absolutely. I'll turn the camera around so you can get a better idea of where we are. Okay, just don't mind my finger. So just moving slowly here, we are in downtown Mainz. So Mainz is a small city on the Rhine in Germany. That's the biggest river that runs through Germany. Mainz is I think it has about 200,000 people, so not too big. And today we are in what's called the Market Square. So as you can see, there's a lot of room where in summertime, there'd be all kinds of tables out here, people having coffee, tea. Okay, and then we have some of the kind of classical German buildings here. They look quite old, but a lot of them were actually reconstructed. And of course, a Pizza Hut. You know, you can't live without Pizza Hut.
Well, have you eaten at that Pizza Hut?
Not yet, but it is on my list.
Yeah, all right. So, and what is that building behind you?
So right behind me, you can see, I'll try to get the best angle here, but that's the cathedral here in Mainz. So they call it the Dome. That's basically German for cathedral. It's actually 1,000 years old, so pretty impressive, right? Pretty impressive. There you go.
And is that a Catholic cathedral?
Yes, it is a Catholic cathedral. Yeah, Mainz is a very, very Catholic city, and you'll pay church tax. So if any of you know anything about the taxes we pay as citizens, here they actually pay a church tax as well that goes towards sort of upkeep of this beautiful cathedral.
All right. Well, thank you for that quick pan around. Before we open it up for questions, just if you are watching the show, you are able to send in your text questions via the Q&A app, and we will also go to some of our on-the-camera classrooms. Before we do so, can you tell us two things? One, what is the current time in Germany? And two, what is the weather like? It looks a little chilly.
Yeah. Well, the current time here, I think, is about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So you can kind of tell maybe the sun is hiding behind some of the clouds here. It's been a pretty chilly day, actually. It's been cloudy, kind of rainy, and it's about 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm not sure about Fahrenheit. Maybe some of you can do the math for me.
All right, so that's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so do you mind taking some live questions from students?
No, that'd be great.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the floor. We're gonna take some questions from our own camera classrooms that are live, as well as anyone that is watching off of camera today. And if you want to know how to send those questions in, if you're in our Zoom webinar, you can use the Q&A app that's built into your Zoom window. Or if you're not watching from Zoom, you can use the hashtag LearnATW. So hashtag Learn Around the World at over on Twitter, and we will check those out as well. All right, so let's start off first. Let's go over to Monica Roberts' classroom in Arkansas. Do we have a question from Arkansas today?
What kind of sports do y'all play?
All right. So what are some of the popular sports? Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Me personally, I'm Canadian, so I love ice hockey. But here in Germany, ice hockey is actually pretty popular too. So that's been really nice for me. I did see a game recently. But even more so, what's popular here is what they call football, which I think in America we would call soccer. So that's definitely the most popular sport. And Mainz has a team actually that's pretty good. They're called Mainz '05 because the team was created in 1905, so a long time ago.
All right. And speaking of football, we're going to go to another country that calls it football as well. We're going to check in with Vicky Trevino's classroom in Monterrey, Mexico. Welcome to the show, everyone. Do you have a question from Mexico today?
Yes. We want to know about your flag.
All right. Do you know much
Oh.
about the German flag, Vanessa?
I don't know a lot about the German flag, but I have a kind of an interesting fact, I guess I could say, about the flag. Here in Germany, you actually don't see them fly the flag very much. And some of this, maybe some of you have learned a little bit about kind of World War II history and some of the, we could say, maybe problems the country had. Now they don't really fly their flag very much. It's too much, I guess, shows too much national pride. They're more modest about it now. So you'll see flags like this one now, which is actually the Mainz flag. So for the city, you'll see more city flags than country flags.
Is it common to see them on government buildings and official buildings and such?
Yeah, maybe more on official buildings, but not so much, someone's house or just at the mall or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And as a point of perspective, for those of you that have not, if you're watching from the United States, it is quite uncommon. The United States flag is flown a lot. And when you travel to other countries, that's one of the things that my international friends tell me when they visit the United States is, wow, there's so many US flags. Everyone flies US flags. And so some countries do it a lot. Some countries don't do it a lot, like in Germany. Great questions around. Let's continue on. Again, if you're watching from off of camera, we love your questions as well. So make sure you send in those text questions and make sure you're using that Q&A app. I do look there more, but over on our chat, we do have a question coming in. We have a classroom that is eating lunch and watching. So they would also like to know, what are some popular dishes that maybe is popular in Mainz, Germany?
That's a really great question. Always thinking about food. Some of the most famous dishes I've had here are going to be things like bratwurst. So it's spelt like bratwurst, but in German, the W is a V sound. So bratwurst, which is basically a really big sausage. They have it with bread, kind of like a large hot dog. And they have it for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It's kind of something you can have anytime during the day. Probably the other most famous food here is going to be the pretzel, which is a German food, a bread snack. I think a lot of you are maybe familiar with it. You can get it at, baseball games, this kind of thing.
All right, let's go over to Doris Curry's classroom. They are from Houston, Texas. Welcome, everyone. Do we have a question from Houston?
We actually have two questions. Our first question is, what is your largest fast food chain restaurant?
Ooh, wow. That's a really good question, and I think I have to say it's McDonald's, which is surprising, right?
McDonald's everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, go for it.
As a visitor to Germany, what kind of faux pas could I get that would make Germans upset with me?
Oh, that's a really good question. So kind of thinking about different cultures interacting. I guess here in Germany, people are very, very blunt and straightforward. So they don't like if you take too long to say something, right? You need to get right to the point because they don't have time. So it's actually really polite to be extremely blunt here, which has taken some getting used to for me.
All right. So I'm going to take a few more questions. As I do that, do you mind just flipping your camera around and
Yeah.
possibly walk or just point us towards any kind of action that may be happening where you are right now?
Sure.
And while you're doing that, we have a question coming in from Wisconsin, and they would like to. Do you know anything about young students? So like they are interested about kindergartners in
Oh,
Germany.
wow.
So if you're not aware, Vanessa teaches at university, so she teaches big kindergartners. Do you
Yeah.
know
The
anything
biggest.
about primary schools? Maybe like how long they go to school during the day? Do you happen to know?
I wish I could say. I actually don't know. So now I feel like I really have to look that up because I know they don't go to school quite as long as we do back home, but I'm not actually sure what the hours are. So you stumped me with that one.
That's okay. Let's check in with South Carolina. Let's go over to Judith Ryan's classroom. Do you have a question for us?
Yes. How far is Mainz away from Heidelberg?
Oh, that's a really good question because I'm actually going to Heidelberg this weekend for a little bit of tourism because it's not very far. For me, it's about an hour's drive, just over an hour.
All right. What are we looking at here, Vanessa?
Well, that's a great question, Brandon. This is a really old fountain. I wish I could tell you something about it. I actually don't know, but it's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Right. And speaking of transportation and going to other cities, what are some of the popular types of public transportation in Germany? Trains, planes, automobiles?
Yes, definitely trains, I guess I would say. I'll just give you a bit of a look at some of this fountain here while I talk, but maybe we can see something down there. So definitely trains and driving in your car as well. So they're very famous here for a highway called the Autobahn. So that's a road you can drive on, well, a series of roads, a network of roads going throughout Germany. And it's you can choose your own speed, right? So you can go any speed that you want, slow, fast, super fast. It's completely up to you. So that's really popular for drivers. And then the train system as well, which is called the Deutsche Bahn. So Bahn kind of being the route you take, and Deutsche, right, being Deutsch, the Germans. They have this really excellent train system. So you can just hop on a train and go anywhere.
All right. And are we looking at a restaurant or what is that, a cafe?
Oh, yes. Should I get closer?
Sure. What's in the window there? Can you see any baked goods?
I think you can see what holiday's coming up here pretty soon.
Ooh.
What do we have here? Okay, looks like we have some cookies. They do really amazing pastries here. So any kind of sort of stuffed donut. You got some chocolate bunnies for Easter coming up.
Is that a chocolate duck?
You know, it might be. It might be.
So we're looking at clearly Easter is coming up. There was a Catholic church there. So obviously the Catholic religion and Easter is going to be big in Germany. Outside of what we're looking at here, is there in the US, there's a lot of with holidays, lots of things to buy, candies that are similar to the holidays coming up. Have you noticed that in Germany? Are there lots of Easter things besides what we're looking at now, just all around?
I would say, yeah, it's definitely they really love their holidays here. So you'll see everything. I mean, Valentine's Day was crazy, just like back home. Now, you know, Easter is coming up, so they roll out all the bunny chocolates, everything like that. It's really, they love their holidays and they love having food that relates to the holidays.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. And we are going to shift gears. We're kind of halfway through our broadcast right now. But if everyone can give a big old thank you on 3 to Vanessa. 1, 2, 3.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, Vanessa, thank you so much for reporting from Germany for all of us today. So
Bye.
if you saw something that you are interested in about Germany today, maybe you want to go do further research on that fountain that is located in Mainz, or maybe you want to do a little bit more research about the transportation in Germany or some of the food dishes. So go ahead and take this experience and go find as much as you can out about Germany. It's a fabulous country. I'm ready to go learn more as well. So we are going to shift gears. And if you are just turning into our Learn Around the World live broadcast, no matter where you're watching from, we are going to go ahead and bring up our next correspondent because you are watching Learn Around the World's On the Scene. This is the program where we connect with our live correspondents around the globe that report back to us about their live locations. Next, we are headed to India. So a little bit later in the day. Oh man, virtual field trips are awesome. India is located in Asia, if you need a review. And if we zoom into Southern Asia, we have India here, very large country. Its closest neighbors are going to be Pakistan. We also have China and Nepal. Also, we have the Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. So these are the closest neighbors to India. And we are going to connect live next with Emily. So Emily is from the UK, and Emily is a teacher as well. Lots of educators that we like to connect with. And let's go ahead and welcome to the show. Hi, Emily.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Can you just tell us a little bit about where you are right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm on a street that's very close to my house. It's about 8:45 at night and it's still super busy. Lots of traffic, lots of beeping. Mumbai is definitely a city that's awake at night. So I am looking for some breakfast for tomorrow. I want some grapes and some mangoes.
All right. And what is the weather like? We just learned that it was around quite chilly, maybe about 10 degrees Celsius in Germany right now. What does it feel like in India?
So right now in the night, it's 32 degrees and we just started summer. So in about 3 or 4 weeks, it will start to hit 40, 45. I think that's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
So for all of those watching right now, 32 at nighttime, it's almost 90 degrees, so 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Awesome. And so you are shopping for your breakfast tomorrow morning. What is a typical breakfast in India like?
Okay, so my typical breakfast is fruits or toast, but Indian breakfasts differ from state to state. So in India, there are 29 states in total, and each state will have their own type of breakfast. So in South India, you have these things called idlis, which are made from rice flour, and dosa, which is sort of like a pancake. In Punjab, you might get samosas. In the state where I am, which is called Maharashtra, you get a rice-based dish called poha and something called pav bhaji, which is like a vegetable stew with bread. So it really depends where you are.
And Emily, many of our attendees right now are watching from the United States, and they may have noticed something that I just noticed. What side of the road do people drive on in India?
They drive on the left side of the road. It's an ex-British colony, so they drive on the same side of the road as the British, left side.
All right. Well, thank you for that quick tour around. Would you like to take some questions from students?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start making the rounds for some questions. And our first one is, I guess, Mrs. Casper's classroom is just joining us. They did not hear you clearly. Can you tell us again what city you're living in?
I'm in Mumbai. It's in the southwest. One second. Ji nahi, bas. Aadha kilo. Haan, aadha kilo chahiye. Sorry, the guy's trying to give me like 4 or 5 kilos of grapes. I'm in Mumbai right now. It's southwest India.
All right, great. So let's start making around to some of our classrooms. And let's go over now to Anna Lillard's classroom. They are in Texas. Welcome to the show. Do you have a question for Emily?
Yes. What does your money look like there?
What does the money look like?
Yes.
Yeah, do you have any money in your
Okay,
pocket?
I do. I'll just show you. It's hard to position the phone. Okay, so they have notes and coins. All of their money has the Mahatma Gandhi on the notes. It has the number written in Hindi over here, which you can see, and also in English. The money, the currency is called the rupee. And right now, I'm gonna ask the guy, Kitna ji? 75 rupees. Okay. So 75 rupees, I think, is around $1 for half a kg of grapes. Thank you, Ji. Me, pass. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, so today that's just over $1 for half a kilo, you said?
Yeah.
So that's roughly about a pound for everyone in the US watching. All right, let's go to another question here. And let's see, we have Mrs. Mulligan's classroom. They're gonna ask our next question, and they are in the USA. Go ahead.
What do you like best about India?
I think my favorite thing is my job because I have really awesome students and I work at a nice school. But my second favorite thing would be the Indian culture. I already mentioned that there are so many states and so many different types of food, and then you have the music and the religion, and it's really big. It's a really big mix of lots and lots of different types of people, and I really like that.
All right, let's go next to Sandra Bay's classroom, and they're watching from North Carolina in the USA. Go for it.
What is India's most common food?
Can you repeat that a little
India's
bit
most
louder
common?
for us?
What is India's most common food?
I think you said most common what?
Animal.
Animal. Was that a
Oh.
question? Do you get to go to the countryside at all? And if you do, what are some of the wild animals that are in India?
Oh, okay, so we get tigers, we get bears, peacocks you find naturally in the wild as well. Local in the city, there are a lot of dogs, a lot of stray dogs, not so many tigers or bears.
All right.
The national animal for India is the tiger, and the national bird is the peacock.
Oh, great. So we have some classrooms that want to know, since you work in a school, they want to know a little bit about what is a school day like? So when do kids come to school, and when do they leave school in the day?
So I teach kindergarten. I teach 5 and 6 year olds. They come to school at 8 o'clock and they finish at 2:30.
And do you have like a summer vacation, or is it year-round school?
We have a lot of vacations actually. As I mentioned, India has a lot of different religions and all of them are treated equally. So we get Christian holidays like Easter and Christmas. We also get Buddhist holidays. We celebrate Eid and Muharram, which are Islamic holidays. We also celebrate Diwali, which is a festival of lights for Hindus. And we get a summer break for about 6 weeks. So it's a pretty short school year.
All right. So we're gonna start making our second round of some questions here. We're gonna go back to Monterrey, Mexico. And do you have a question in Mexico for us?
The government in India gives education an important place.
Can you repeat one more time a little bit louder for us?
The government in India gives education an important place.
Is education important in India for the Indian government?
Definitely. Again, it depends on which states that you go to. So there is a state in the south of India called Kerala, and the people there have 100% literacy, which means that everybody in the States is able to read and write. In Mumbai, it's a lot less. We have about 27% literacy. So it really depends which state you go to. The state government is in control of the schools. So the importance differs from state to state.
All right, and let's go over to Monica Roberts' classroom in Arkansas. Do you have another question for us about India?
What kind of hunt do y'all do down there?
Was the question about hunting?
Yes.
Do you know anyone or that hunts? And if so, what do they hunt?
No, hunting is actually illegal. I mean, apart from fishing, it's illegal to catch wild animals.
All right.
A lot of them are endangered species, so yeah.
All right, let's go over to Mrs. Curry's classroom in Texas.
What is India's national dish?
It differs again from state to state. I mean, curry generally is the dish, but then again, it changes depending on where you are. There are also two very main types of diet. So in India, you have veg and non-veg. So non-veg are people who will eat animal products, including eggs, and veg are people who won't touch anything related to animals. So the dish depends on where you go, who you speak to, what religion you follow. It's a very difficult question.
All right, and we have a question over on Twitter. What is there a like, how long is your school year? So when does the school year start and when does it finish before you advance to the next grade or year?
It starts in July, June or July, usually the last week of June or first week of July, and it finishes last week of May.
All right, and let's head over to Judith Ryan's classroom in South Carolina.
What are India's most famous sports?
Okay, so the most popular sport here.
You broke up right there. Can you repeat that again, Emily?
Yeah, sorry. So the most famous sport is cricket. Indians really love cricket, but the national sport is hockey.
Like ice hockey or field hockey?
No, field hockey. Yeah, we don't get a lot of ice over here.
All right, and we have a question coming in on our Q&A, and Mrs. Casper's classroom wants to know, are there any special monuments? I would say I'll add to in your city, or what kind of monuments do you typically see around India? Like what's celebrated? Is it people, events?
A little bit of everything. The culture is so rich here that honestly, any reason for a celebration. As far as monuments go, the most famous one in my city is down south, about 20 minutes taxi ride from where I live. It's called the Gateway of India. So it's on a port, and the British built it to welcome the Queen in, I think, the 1800s. Maybe one day we can do a virtual field trip down there.
All right, so we're coming up to the end of our time. Do you mind switching your camera around and just let us see where you're walking by right now?
I'm currently walking back to my house.
And is that a big highway overpass?
Yes, huge highway overpass. And you can see there are lots of high-rise buildings, one of which I live in.
All right, so as we start wrapping up here, so we know that it's very hot where you're living right now. Is there anything you could tell us as we see some people walking by? Is there anything that you notice from the perspective of coming from the UK? Is there anything that really sticks out about Indian fashion where you live? I know it's going to be different from place to place.
Actually, it's quite similar. I think that's one of the things that's quite similar from state to state. So in recent decades, maybe the past 20 years, women have started to dress a little bit more Western, wearing jeans and shirts. Men usually wear pants or shirts. And if you're wearing Indian clothes, there's a dress called a kurta, which I'm wearing right now.
And what's that called again?
A kurta.
Kurta.
Yeah. And if you are going to a wedding or some formal occasion, as a woman, you might wear a sari, which is a 6-meter piece of cloth, which is draped with a blouse underneath.
And I noticed earlier when you were ordering fruits, do you know a bit of the local language?
I do. And so to say that I know a little bit, you would say Tora Tora Malam Hai. It means I know a little.
All right. So can you, we'll just finish with one last thing. And I know you're ready to get home and call it a night. It's getting later there. Do you know how to, or can you teach us how to say goodbye?
Yes. So hello. So again, there are so many different languages. The national language is Hindi. And to say hello in Hindi, you say namaste.
Namaste.
And to say goodbye, you say alvido.
Can you say that one more time?
Alvido. Alvido.
Alvido. All right. Can we all say it on 3? 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for telling us about your city and where you're located in India. And for everyone out there, if you're watching the broadcast or just tuning in, you've been watching Learn Around the World's On the Scene. This is where we connect with correspondents all over the globe that shows us what's going on live right now. Emily was just speaking to us from the future in the nighttime. All right. So to everyone else out there, remember, I hope you saw something that piqued your interest today. It's a great big wonderful world out there. Take this opportunity to go learn more about India, to go learn more about Germany. Until next time, I'm GOB. You've been watching Learn Around the World's On the Scene. Until next time, keep exploring. Bye, everyone.
Oh, they're gonna come us. Watch, guys, watch. Get ready, get ready. Matthew.